Dak Prescott has to know that
Absolutely.
one or two more yards isn't nearly as consequential as what happened, which was a catastrophic ending. So he needs to know that. But again, you could talk as a play caller until there's 15 seconds on the play clock. The last thing Kellen Moore should have told him is make sure you're sliding with about 10 seconds so that doesn't happen. And one or two more yards, Max, wouldn't have mattered.
Let's bring in Jeremy Fowler. Jeremy, I also don't have a problem with the play call. I mean, Shanahan finally figured out, let me defend the sidelines, right? But the attention to detail wasn't there. All year we're asking a couple of things. Dak got the bag. Can he come through under pressure? And McCarthy's clock management hasn't been good. Will it cost them in the playoffs? Dak didn't come through under pressure. McCarthy's management at the end of the game, or at least the way he had his team set up, did cost them in the playoffs. What are you hearing around the league about this glorious loss for the Dallas Cowboys?
Glorious.
Well, I was getting texts last night from people around the league about whether Mike McCarthy would survive this. I think that's sort of been the natural question out there. And so it's my understanding that the Dallas Cowboys did have meetings today, that Jerry Jones was part of those meetings, Mike McCarthy was part of those meetings. Players were sort of ragged on about the overall performance, but there was no talk about job status or security. So as of now, it looks like either Jerry Jones is happy with Mike McCarthy or maybe he's softening, but nothing has changed in his status. And the situation here with situational football, that was the buzz phrase that was brought up to me several times, texting with whether it's agents or executives around the league. It's an accumulation of issues with some of the clock management stuff we saw earlier in the year and now this. But all that I've heard out of Dallas in recent weeks is that the Joneses have been very happy overall with the performance, sitting at 12-5, producing in a big way compared to last year.
I mean, Mike McCarthy lost his job with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. As soon as they replaced the head coach, they've lived in the NFC Championship game since then, right?
Yeah. Let me say this. Mike McCarthy should not lose his job because of that last play, right? If you're gonna put down an indictment on someone's job, it has to be over a significant amount of time, not one play that's not executed to perfection, all those kinds of things. But here's my issue. Dak Prescott's making making $40 million. Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper, right? You have all these big plays. They're not explosive on offense, and they're not physical on offense. And all you heard from Mike McCarthy through the season was our DNA has to be about being physical with this offensive line, running the football. If you're going to cast judgment on his coaching, it should be about that. The play on the field does not match an offensive-minded coach. I don't care about the analytics of what the decisions are. Is your team. And I said this for the last month and a half or 2 months. They're not beating anybody except the NFC East. And if that's your goal, then you should win that division every. You should have won it in week 8, which they basically did. But my problem is, if you're going to judge the job, it has to be that portion.
Listen,
not just
they were lucky to even be in that situation. If not for a Jimmy Garoppolo interception,
Amen.
If not for coming up just inches short,
correct.
And then Trent Williams,
that's Jimmy G. That's Jimmy G.
I mean, so many things had to happen to get them to that point. Quickly, Mike T, because we got to move on.
Yeah, I've been in the room with a head coach and an owner. You say to Mike McCarthy, here's the answers to the test. You want to keep your job? We're not going to be number one in penalties next year. The attention to detail has to be dramatically better. And if it's not, this is the conversation we're going to have a year from now. You won't be here. So here's the answers to the test if you want to keep your job.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.